Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Shan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. Home Minister Rajnath Singh softens rhetoric, assures Pakistan Rangers that Indian forces won't fire the first bullet, asks them to check infiltration along the border. Nine years after the 7/11 Mumbai serial bomb blast that killed 188 people, 12 accused found guilty. Families of victims demand the death penalty. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates international terminal in Chandigarh, targets Congress for deadlock in Parliament, says 40 MPs conspiring to hamper country's development. Meat ban fever spreads across India. Chhattisgarh joined Gujarat and Rajasthan in banning meat sales during the Jain festival of Paryushan. All right, our top story this evening. Home Minister Rajnath Singh has assured a delegation of Pakistani Rangers that the Indian forces will not fire the first bullet along the international border. But he also asked Pakistan to ensure that terrorists do not infiltrate into India. His remarks came on a day when 2 Jawans and 2 militants were killed during an encounter in Jammu and Kashmir's Kupwara districts, and Pak troops violated ceasefire in the Rajouri district.
At a time when the DG of BSF and Pak Rangers are busy holding talks to reduce tension along the LOC and international border, Pakistani troops resorted to unprovoked firing in Rajouri, forcing Indian troops to retaliate. There have been more than 10 such incidents in the first few days of this month. Casualties, both civilian and military, in the recent spat of firing between forces in the past few months have been reported. Home Minister Rajnath Singh assured the Pak border guard delegation that Indian troops will adopt a no first fire policy, but won't back down if fired at.
You can gauge the positivity of this meeting by the fact that meeting was originally scheduled to take place only yesterday, but to work out the nitty-gritty of the mechanism, we are meeting today also. So this is something very unusual.
The Home Minister also asked the Pak delegation to ensure that there is no infiltration of terrorists. His words came shortly after a gun battle in Handwara in Kashmir, in which 2 army personnel and 2 terrorists were killed. The gun battle began last night after the army cordoned off an area where terrorists were believed to be hiding.
फिर से मुठभेड़ हुई है, 2 आतंकी मारे गए, 2 आर्मी के जवान भी।
अभी रिपोर्ट लेंगे। कल ही यहाँ पे बातचीत हुआ। देखिए वो जो घटना है उसको हम लोग देखेंगे कि क्या है, पर रिपोर्ट लिया नहीं।
This is the first meeting between India and Pakistan after the first high-level peace talks between the two countries collapsed at the 11th hour a fortnight ago. Pakistan Rangers raised the need of greater communication between the 2 border guarding troops at the meet in New Delhi on Friday. Bureau Report, Sabha TV.
Moving on now, 9 years on, and the 12 accused in the Mumbai serial bomb blast case have been found guilty, 5 of them for murder. As the special Mokoka court delivered the verdict, families of those killed demanded the death penalty for all accused.
9 years after serial bomb blasts aboard its trains rattled Mumbai, killing 188 people, 12 of the 13 accused have been convicted. 1 was acquitted. All 12 of those convicted have links with the banned outfit Simi. 5 of them have been held guilty for murder, a charge that could attract the death penalty.
Out of the 13 accused, 1 accused has been given a clean sheet. He has been acquitted of all the charges which he was charged. So far as the other accused are concerned, I must say that mainly they are found guilty of the offence under 120B, that is of conspiracy, read with 302 and 311 of the MCOC Act. So section 311 of the MCOC Act and 302 are the 2 sections which attract death penalty.
In the original charge sheet filed by the Anti-Terrorism Squad in November 2006, 30 people were named. 17 of those are absconding. It is believed that 13 out of these are Pakistani nationals. In the list of those absconding is Azam Chima, believed to be an LAT member.
180 लोग 88 लोगों की जो जाने गई थी, करीब 900 लोग इंजर्ड हुए थे, बहुत सारे परिवार बर्बाद हुए थे। उनको न्याय मिल गया है, ऐसा मेरा मानना है।
In the charge sheet, ATS had said that the improvised explosive devices used in the blasts were made in a room in Govandi in suburban Mumbai. 7 explosions had rocked the first-class coaches of many suburban trains on July 11, 2006.
ये एक्यूज जो है असली एक्यूज तो है नहीं, ये नकली है। इन्होंने किधर से भी पकड़ करके गाड़ी में बिठा दिया है इनको सजा देके मेरे हिसाब से तो कोई फायदा नहीं है। असली गुनाहगार है जो लोग हैं वो तो पाकिस्तान भाग गए, यहाँ तो है नहीं, इनके हाथ में पकड़ में भी नहीं आए।
Arguments for the quantum of sentence are likely to begin on Monday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today gave vent to the government's frustration in being unable to get key reform bills passed in the parliament. Targeting the Congress, he alleged that a mere 40 MPs are conspiring to hamper the country's development against the wishes of 400 MPs. Earlier, the Prime Minister inaugurated the international terminal at the Chandigarh airport and addressed the convocation ceremony of the Postgraduate Institute of Medical Education and Research.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated to the nation the new airport terminal in northern Chandigarh. The new airport will cater to both domestic and international flights and is expected to boost industrial and economic development in Punjab and Haryana.
चंडीगढ़ की शोभा बढ़ाने वाला ये एयरपोर्ट बना है, टर्मिनल बना है और इतना ही नहीं, सारे इलाके के लिए ये हवाई सेवा की सुविधाएं आर्थिक विकास के लिए एक बहुत बड़ी अहम भूमिका अदा करेगी.
Later addressing a rally, Modi hit out at the Congress over the deadlock in Parliament. He said 40 MPs are conspiring to hamper the country's development against the wishes of 400 MPs, which is an insult to democracy.
लोकतंत्र की मर्यादाओं को स्वीकार न करना, लोकतंत्र के नियमों का स्वीकार नहीं करना और 400 पार्लियामेंट के मेंबरों की परवाह न करना, लेकिन 40 लोग देश के भविष्य के सामने रोड़े अटकाने के लिए षड्यंत्र करते रहे, ये भारत के लोकतंत्र के साथ खिलवाड़ है.
Ahead of the Prime Minister's visit, around 500 Congress workers were taken into preventive custody by police here, apprehending the possibility of a breach of the peace. Congress workers said they had planned to show black flags to Modi. The new air terminal is a joint venture by the Airports Authority of India and the two states of Punjab and Haryana, who share their capital, Chandigarh.
ये हम लोगों ने जो अभी एग्जिस्टिंग कैपेसिटी हमारी टर्मिनल की है उसकी 4 गुना साइज का हम लोगों ने टर्मिनल बनाया. भविष्य में यहाँ के फ्यूचर ग्रोथ को देखते हुए जो कि 15% की ग्रोथ रजिस्टर की गई है पिछले साल के मुकाबले में, और इसकी एरिया जो है करीब 53,000 स्क्वायर मीटर में हम लोगों ने फैलाव में इस एयरपोर्ट को विकसित किया है.
Later, Modi regretted the inconvenience caused to citizens in Chandigarh during his visit. Calling the inconvenience totally avoidable, he said a probe will be ordered to fix responsibility for closing down schools. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to news from the Bihar Assembly elections, and the allies are now stepping up the pressure on the BJP to finalize a seat-sharing deal for the Bihar Assembly polls. A day after meeting Anant Kumar in Delhi, RLSP chief Bhupendra Kushwaha also said that the BJP needs to be more generous towards its allies when deciding on how many seats should each contest. His statement comes a day after he said that the BJP is free to take a final call on the issue. According to sources, while the BJP is keen to contest over 150 seats, it has left fewer seats for its allies, the LJP, the RLSP and Jitan Ram Manjhi's HAMS. BJP is under pressure to allot more to them amid a tussle between Manjhi and LJP chief Ram Vilas Paswan.
सीटों की संख्या को लेकर आपस में सहमति नहीं बन पाई है, यही कारण है. लेकिन मुझको लगता है कि अब ज़्यादा विलम्ब नहीं होगा. वैसे हम आग्रह करना चाहते हैं तमाम संबंधित दल के नेताओं से कि अब सब लोग मिलकर फैसला कर लें. भारतीय जनता पार्टी को भी थोड़ी उदारता दिखानी चाहिए और बाकी घटक दल के लोग हैं उनको भी बहुत जिच नहीं करना चाहिए. जल्दी कुछ न कुछ निर्णय पर आ जाना चाहिए, क्योंकि ज़्यादा विलम्ब होगा तो थोड़ा नुकसान होगा. ऐसे ही पहले काफ़ी विलम्ब हो गया.
जो हमारे प्रति जनता का एक झुकाव देखने को मिला उसी को हम मानते हैं कि आप लोग मानिए समझिए कि जीतन मांझी का क्या वहाँ पर आधार है और उस आधार और उन लोगों की जो अपेक्षाएं हैं उसके आधार पर आप सीट का बंटवारा कीजिए। वो बंटवारा कीजिएगा अनुकूल तो आपको फायदा होगा।
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में, राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जी के नेतृत्व में समूचा एनडीए बिहार के अंदर एकजुट है। मांझी जी, उपेंद्र कुशवाहा जी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रदेश इकाई, सारे लोगों के साथ हमारे वरिष्ठ मंत्री, पार्टी के पार्लियामेंट्री बोर्ड के सदस्य अनंत कुमार जी डिटेल बात कर रहे हैं।
Let's go across to our correspondent Shyam Sundar, who's been tracking developments as far as the seat sharing talks between the NDA allies goes, Shyam. And all's not well in that house, the pressure being applied on the BJP by the smaller allies.
Definitely, Ishan, it is very clear that for BJP, these smaller parties like Lok Janshakti Party or Rashtriya Lok Samta Party, whether it is Hindustan Awami Morcha of Mr. Manji, these parties are very, very important because BJP is trying to give an impression that it believes in inclusive politics and it is not it is not upper caste party in Bihar, and that's why we have seen in Lok Sabha elections also in both the states Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, BJP successfully roped in smaller parties and it was successful in giving a message that it believes in inclusive politics. So these parties definitely are very, very important for BJP in Bihar, but BJP is undoubtedly leader of this alliance, and BJP would decide that how many seats these smaller parties will get. But we have to remember one thing, that these smaller parties know at this point of time that they are very important for BJP, so they will try and make pressure and try to get more and more seats, because they know that especially Ramvilas Paswan and Upendra Kushwaha, because in center BJP has clear-cut majority in the Lok Sabha, right, and still Ramvilas Paswan and Upendra Kushwaha, they are ministers in center, but if they are key player in Bihar after assembly elections, then they can bargain in the center also, then they will not be so dependable on BJP, and apart from that they have to satisfy their followers and their local leaders also.
All right, Shyam, quickly a little bit about this tussle between who's the leader of the backward caste between Ramvilas Paswan and Jitan Ram Manji. And Jitan Ram Manji and Ramvilas Paswan, of course, cater to different castes, but as far as the caste calculus within the NDA alliance goes, how does that shape up?
Well, as far as Ramvilas Paswan is concerned, undoubtedly he is a big name, big face, and he, barring one time, he is winning from his Hajipur seat and coming to Lok Sabha, and he is minister eventually in almost every non-Congress government and even UPA government there. So Ramvilas Paswan, of course, is a big name, but Jitan Ram Manji, he is former Chief Minister of Bihar now, and the way he dissed Mr. Nitish Kumar, who made him Chief Minister and formed his own party. So, but the way Jitan Ram Manji is challenging Ramvilas Paswan, he is not trying to project him as a big leader, but he is making his claim in the NDA, right, to get more seats. So that is the politics behind this.
All right, Shyam, we'll leave it over there. And Shyam, of course, we'll keep a track of this story as it develops for us. Thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand this a little better. Well, that was a little presentation on the Bihar Assembly elections. We'll, of course, be getting you exclusive and special coverage every day in Verdict 2015. Moving on now, industrial production grew at 4.2% in July against 0.09% in a year ago. In fact, the mining, manufacturing and electricity sectors also grew in the month of July. Mining grew at 1.3%, manufacturing at 4.7%, and electricity grew at 3.5% as compared to July 2014. 12 out of the 22 industry groups in the manufacturing sector have shown positive growth. Basic goods grew at a rate of 5.2% and capital goods grew at 10.6%. Overall growth in consumer goods was recorded at 1.3%. Now, the meat ban fever has spread across India. Chhattisgarh today joined Gujarat and Rajasthan in banning the sale of meat during the Jain festival Paryushan. Rajasthan ordered a ban on the sale of fish as well. Meanwhile, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai withdrawing the meat ban on September 13th to 18th. The Chhattisgarh government, on the other hand, ordered the ban during the entire 8-day-long fasting period and a Ganesh Chaturthi festival as well.
You see, what has happened is in fact a follow-up to a court order issued by the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir, and therefore it has to be taken in the spirit of the order in which it has been issued. The ruling party in the state or at the centre has nothing to do. It should not be given a political color.
That this Hindustan is likely to become Banistan, because for your food, for your movement, for your business, for your talk, for your everything that you need, government sanction or there is some ban or the other. We'll have to consider what are the compulsions for imposition of such bans. I think it is not justified.
Fundamentally, the question is that does the state have the right to transgress into the kitchens of people? You are dictating culinary choices by banning sale. Tomorrow, you will try and dictate them by telling people what to eat.
The West Bengal government has decided to declassify government documents on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee made this announcement today. She said that the move has been initiated after checking all angles, including those of the country's security. These files would now be readied and kept in the police archives for all to see. She also urged the centre to declassify all files related to the freedom fighter.
আমরা ঠিক করেছি আমাদের যত ফাইল আছে আমাদের কাছে নেতাজি সুভাষচন্দ্র বোস সংক্রান্ত কিছু ফাইল মুখার্জি কমিশন চেয়েছিল সিক্রেটলি আমরা দেখিয়েছিলাম বাট পরে আবার নিয়ে আসা হয়েছিল এই নিয়ে টোটাল যত আমাদের কাছে ডকুমেন্ট আছে এই ডকুমেন্টগুলো আমরা পাবলিক ডোমেইনে দিয়ে দেব আগামী শুক্রবার থেকে
It was my demand, our party demand at the same time. I've raised this issue in the last session in West Bengal Assembly. I'm happy. We welcome the decision. Because it was demanded not only the BJP, the people of West Bengal, the Bengali psyche desperately wanted this thing for so long.
I would appeal to the central government, to Sri Narendra Modi ji, the Honorable Prime Minister, that he must immediately declassify 130 files which are there with the central government. And along with this, he must write to the Russian authorities to release the KGB, the erstwhile KGB files, which are pertaining to Subhash Chandra Bose, and at the same time, the British authorities, the files that they are maintaining, they must also be released.
Time now to take a look at all the other national news and updates in Nationwide. The Sensex and the Nifty ended the session near flat as investors remain wary ahead of the IIP and CPI figures that did come out. The Sensex ended down by 11.96% to close at 25,610, while the Nifty ended up by 1 point at 7,789. Now markets are on track after receiving support from higher Asian shares following the strengthening of Wall Street. The Supreme Court has extended the stay on the arrest of activist Nista Setalwad and her husband Javed Anand in a corruption case by 4 more weeks till the 15th of October. The two have been accused of violating financial laws in connection with funding given to them by a US-based Ford Foundation. The Home Ministry has suspended her NGO, Sabrang Trust, under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010. The Supreme Court has asked the CBI to take over all 185 Vyapam scam cases, irrespective of the stage of investigation. The Special Investigation Team has been asked to extend all cooperation to the CBI. The CBI is to file its status report by the 9th of October. Students of Delhi University and JNU queued up at polling centres to cast their votes to elect their student union bodies. Voting for DUSU posts is taking place in 2 phases with 35 candidates in the fray. Counting of the votes will take place tomorrow at both universities. Well, time for us to take a very quick break right now, but coming up on the other side, the government has confirmed the death of 6 Indians after their boat came under Saudi-led airstrikes earlier this week in Yemen.
Bugle sounded.
Bihar enters election mood. Massive stakes and intensifying political slugfest. Where do the players stand? Watch the big picture at 6:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, sad news. The centre has confirmed that 6 Indians have been killed after their boat came under Saudi-led airstrikes in Yemen earlier this week. The victims were among the 7 Indians who were initially reported missing in the incident. On Tuesday, 2 boats carrying a total of 21 Indians came under aerial attack. The Indian embassy in Yemen's camp office in Djibouti has been constantly in touch with authorities and local contacts to get more details. Some media reports quoting residents and fishermen had claimed that 20 Indians were killed in the attack at the Hodaya airport. Onto the migrant crisis in Europe, and Hungarian authorities are increasingly struggling to cope with the influx of migrants. Human rights activists describe the situation in transit camps at the border as inhumane, saying that thousands of migrants are being held in cramped spaces like cattle. Hungary has been a continuous flashpoint with its reluctance to provide support to the migrants.
Migrants seeking refuge in Europe, living life in a dismal state in Hungary. Battered by months of travel, the migrants are reduced to fighting for food and aid, even in refugee camps. The media is banned from the premises. The lack of support in Hungary has been criticized by human rights activists. Emergency Director of Human Rights Watch said the migrants were held like cattle in pens.
The government so far is not doing anything. I mean, they are disorganized. They don't give these people the basic human support. They don't provide them with food and shelter. They don't want to do it, I guess, because it could be done. Civil services or civilians can do that, then the government should be able to do that too.
We don't deny that what's going on in Hungary is a huge crisis, and it's not solely in the hand of the Hungarian government to solve it. The refugee system of the EU is in crisis, and the EU leaders together need to come up with a solution. But what we do with the people who are actually here in this very moment is very different from that.
The European Commission has proposed an additional 120,000 asylum seekers to be shared between the 28 member states. But the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland and Slovakia have rejected the proposals.
In order to deal with the refugee situation, we need more than ever an economically strong Europe, which is capable of taking action. That's another reason why we are working to keep Europe together and to solve Europe's economic and institutional problems, especially in the Eurozone.
Hungary too displayed signs of its inability to handle the flood of migrants coming in. It has started tightening security at its borders. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Rescue and relief operations are on in full swing in flood-hit Japan, even as a fresh spell of rain has made rescue operations quite difficult. At least 3 deaths have been reported so far, 24 people are missing and several remain stranded. Thousands of people have been evacuated from capital Tokyo and the city of Joso. The government has also issued evacuation advisories at several places as unprecedented rainfall continues. The Weather Department has predicted more heavy rain and a risk of mudslides in the coming days. Torrential rains were caused by a severe tropical storm earlier this week.
とにかく一刻も早く救助をですね、求めている国民の救援に全力で取り組んでいるということであります。
Now, in the US Open, the women's semi-final was postponed till Friday due to the threat of heavy rain. The rescheduling means that both the men's and the women's semi-finals will now be played in an action-packed day 12. Here's a preview of that.
Thursday evening showers along with a heavy rain forecast forced the US Open women's semi-finals to be postponed for a day. Now both the men's and women's semi-finals will be played on Friday. The women's semis will see the top 2 seeds pitted against 2 Italians. World number 1 Serena Williams, who is chasing a calendar Grand Slam, will take on the unseeded Roberta Vinci. The Italian reached her first Grand Slam semi-final after beating France's Kristina Mladenovic. Second seed Simona Halep, on the other hand, will square off with the 26th seed Flavia Pennetta. Halep was pushed into 3 sets in her last 2 matches. Pennetta shocked 5th seed and 2 times Wimbledon champion Petra Kvitova in 3 sets in the quarter-final. In the men's draw, world number 1 Novak Djokovic will take on defending champion Marin Cilic in the first semi-final. Djokovic owns a commanding 13-0 lead in their career head-to-head matches. Cilic, meanwhile, will look to retain his title, a feat last achieved by Roger Federer in 2008. The second semi-final will feature 17 times Grand Slam champion Roger Federer against his compatriot 5th seed Stan Wawrinka. Although Federer holds a career head-to-head advantage, Wawrinka triumphed over the world number 2 in the French Open quarterfinals en route to his second Grand Slam title. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time now for sporting action in Sportsbeat. India's campaign at the Japan Open Super Series came to an end as world number 8 Purupulli Kashyap was knocked out in the men's singles quarterfinals. Kashyap lost 14-21, 18-21 to Chinese Taipei's 6th seed Chao Chen in just 42 minutes. He was the lone Indian who entered the quarterfinals after Saina Nehwal, Kidambi Srikanth and HS Pranoy lost their respective second-round matches on Thursday. The BCCI Selection Committee has listed out a 30-player list for the preparatory camp before the India-South Africa series. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Virat Kohli and Shikhar Dhawan are all in the list. The list comprises 12 specialist batsmen, 3 wicketkeepers, 1 all-rounder and 14 bowlers, including 8 fast bowlers and 6 spinners. Manchester United have opened contract talks with goalkeeper David De Gea. The Spaniard's present deal expires in 2016 and United had previously indicated that they had abandoned the hope of the 24-year-old signing an extension. But following the collapse of a proposed move to Real Madrid on transfer deadline day, negotiations now have been renewed. Well, that's all from us. Goodbye.